This is the story of John Paul DeJoria, the man who went from being homeless twice, falling in and out of biking gangs, to co-founding two global brands, Paul Mitchell Hair Systems and Patrón Tequila. His journey proves that resilience, vision and generosity can turn the darkest struggles into the brightest victories.
If I lived a life here in this body on this planet with no adversity, I wouldn't be growing at all. So I look at what I went through and I look at the tough times that I learned from. It was like the greatest education.
Born in 1944 in Los Angeles to immigrant parents, John Paul DeJoria's life began in hardship.
Very young age. We had absolutely nothing. We had a deadbeat dad, and before I was 2 years old, he was gone.
By the age of 9, he and his brother were selling newspapers and Christmas cards just to survive. Eventually, he spent time in foster care and, falling in and out of biker gangs, he learned early that life doesn't hand you comfort. You have to earn it. In the mid-1960s, life delivered John Paul DeJoria one of his hardest blows. His first wife walked out, leaving behind a 2.5-year-old son, taking the car, their savings, and even having months of unpaid bills.
As I'm going up the steps, we're a second-level apartment. My wife's coming down, and she says, "I'm going to the store, can I have the keys?" Sure, gave her the keys, right? And she got in the car and took off. Opened the door, and all of a sudden, there's my 2.5-year-old son sitting on the floor in a bunch of clothes, and there's a note. "Can't handle it anymore, better off with you, good luck, I'm gone." And unbeknownst to me, for 3 months, she didn't pay any of the bills, no utility, no rent. She would keep the money and rip up the bills. She picked up the mail. I never did, so I didn't know we were posed for eviction and our electricity being turned off. I had no idea, but that's how it turned out. What little we had in the bank was gone. As soon as I realized what the world was going on, no money, no nothing, I cried. I was just so heartbroken. How am I gonna do this? You know, I've got a little kid here. I'm in between jobs. What money I had isn't there anymore.
Within days, DeJoria and his little boy were evicted from their apartment and forced to live in his car. To survive, he collected empty soda bottles and traded them in for a few cents each, just enough to buy food for his son. But even in that moment of despair, he refused to give up.
You can't sit there and feel sorry for yourself, because if you do, you're going to stay there and stay there and stay there. My first thought was a car. So I go out of a car and on loan that was an old Cadillac, a 1951 Cadillac that hadn't been running for years, had a broken water pump. And I got it from this wonderful lady, and I filled it up with water every 4 hours, got the thing going. I had auto shop in high school, so I knew how to get the thing going again. And that was my vehicle. It was also my home for a while. And then to get money, I went into vacant lots picking up Coke bottles and soda pops, 7-Up bottles, root beer, anything. In those days, it was mandatory. Grocery stores and liquor stores would give you 2 cents for a little one, 5 cents for a big one. And that's how we started getting money to live and eat.
That's resilience, would one day fuel his rise to unimaginable success. It would take one more moment of hardship before John Paul would become successful. At age 36, he found himself homeless again. But this time, it was different.
Well, the second time I was homeless was a lot easier because I had been homeless before. I had a friend of mine, this young lady lived down the street. I told her what happened. She said, "I'll take care of John Jr. He could stay here with me for, weeks, JP, as long as it takes you to get another place to live. No problem, I'll take care of that." So I learned how to go to the Freeway Cafe for 99 cents for breakfast, go to El Torito after 4:30 at happy hour. Well, that was dinner. Worked out pretty good. Griffith Park had showers, which I remember from my youth down there, where they had the tennis court. So I went down there and showered. That was my shower. No problem.
In 1980, with hairdresser Paul Mitchell, he co-founded John Paul Mitchell Systems.
Eva Prank, who I really respected a lot, and she would say, "You gotta meet Paul Mitchell. I heard of him before as a great hairdresser." And for some reason, we just hit it off. 9 years after I first met Paul, he was trying to come out with a product line called PM, where it was a couple of shampoos and a conditioning treatment, and it just didn't go anywhere. He bought very little of it because he didn't have any money, and he overpaid for it, and the product didn't repeat on its own. I said, Paul, one, the product could be a lot better, and number two, you have no business, no infrastructure, no nothing. All you've done is lost a lot of money. I know the business, the sales, the marketing end. How about we do this? Let's start a company. You own 30%, I own 30%, and we give 40% to somebody that'll invest $500,000 in us. We need $500,000 to start this company. Great idea, JP, let's do it. So we started designing the packaging and everything. I got my friends to work on formulations for me. And of course, the money never came in.
With nothing but a $700 loan and unshakable determination, they built a hair care empire.
And then I would call up the guy who had the bottles, and I'd say, instead of 100,000 bottles, can I have 10,000 bottles of sample run? Oh, sure, JP, no problem. Everybody thought we had the backer and everything. The only thought in my head, even though we couldn't pay our bills on time for almost 2 years, was our product is so darn good. Hairdressers love it. They know a good product.
Today, Paul Mitchell products are found in salons around the world.
So even today, if you ever find a Paul Mitchell product on a grocery store shelf or a drugstore shelf, all of it is either counterfeit or from what they call the gray black market or diversion. We don't put it there. We stay only by hairdressers. They supported us when no one believed in us.
DeJoria did stop there. In 1989, he co-founded Patrón Spirits, introducing the world to ultra-premium tequila. At a time when tequila wasn't seen as luxury, John Paul transformed the entire industry, creating a global sensation that Bacardi would later acquire for billions of dollars. Despite his billions, John Paul never forgot what it felt like to have nothing. His philosophy is simple: success unshared is failure.
It started when I had nothing. At 6 years old, my mother would take my brother and I to downtown LA, and my mom gave my brother and I a dime. And it's just something you never forget. She says, boys, I want you each to hold half this dime, walk over and put in the red bucket of that man ringing the bell. And we did. We said, Mom, why did we give that guy a dime? Now, I'm older than you are. In those days, a dime would buy 2 big Coca-Colas or 3 candy bars. And she said, boys, it's because that's a group called the Salvation Army, and they help people that have no home and no food. She says, and we want to do something. She says, in life, there'll always be someone that has less than you. Always do something in life if you can, either with your time or might help somebody else out. And I never forgot that. It just came as part of a culture. Started with my mom.
Through his Peace, Love and Happiness Foundation, he has supported causes from feeding children in Africa to helping the homeless, supporting environmental conservation, and promoting sustainable living.
Going to Africa the first time and meeting some of the 7,000 children, ages 1 day to 12 years old, all parents have died of AIDS, or the kids that are thrown away. All the kids are brought there into these various orphanages where we feed them, we protect them, we educate them. One of the most touching moments on that was, while I was there, we had a photo shoot. We brought the orphans in. It was a photo shoot we did, a campaign one year. We had all these African children in our hands. And one little boy, we'll guess his age to be 1.5 years, 2 years old, was the only one not smiling. And the story behind him was that he was pulled out of a trash can the day before, dropped off as they were leaving. They said, well, no, and they brought him with them there. And the boy was just bewildered. Trash can, he was skinny as can be, and the other kids were, eating little candy bars that were given to him, the thing of soda pops. And before we left the photo shoot, he picked up a soda pop and drank it, and we were just hugging him, and the kids smiled. It was like tears come out of the eyes, just beautiful.
John Paul DeJoria's life is living proof of the American dream. From foster homes and homelessness to Forbes lists and philanthropy.
Around the property here, look at the view. That's the Colorado River, a comfortable pool, playing pool, a little water will fall over the side. This is my world headquarters. So understanding that I don't do email, I don't do computers, I'm a very simple person, but I run many things. I only make phone calls, I go through paperwork. This is my red phone straight to Washington, D.C. But most of the business is done right here. I'll either make a phone call, or I'll write something on the note you sent me, text it out.
His story teaches us that perseverance is stronger than circumstance. He once said, "Don't let your fears stand in the way of your dreams." John Paul DeJoria reminds us all, it's not where you start, but where you are determined to go. If this story inspired you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear that nothing is impossible when you refuse to give up. See you in the next video. Keep sharp.
They train every morning, they're successful, they have their life in order. It's just simple. Keep your life in order.